We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
What would you do if you had everything? The fame, the fortune, the influence, and then in an instant, it all started slipping through your fingers. The spotlight can be a powerful thing, and it seems like for scene Diddy Combs, the glare is becoming too much to handle. Imagine, a man at the very top of his game in the music industry, credited for shaping an era and amassing a staggering fortune, suddenly facing a cascade of accusations and scandals that threaten to destroy everything he built. How does someone go from being a hip-hop icon to sitting in a courtroom fighting for his freedom and reputation?
I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell, right?
To fully understand how Diddy's story spiraled into what many are calling one of the most shocking downfalls in music history, you have to go back and examine the empire he created. His brand, Bad Boy Records, wasn't just a record label, it was a cultural powerhouse. With artists like the notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, and even up-and-coming stars, Diddy's vision didn't just put hit records on the charts. It created an entire movement. Fans didn't just listen to the music, they lived it. Bad Boy wasn't a name. It was an identity, an attitude, a way of life for millions. Through this brand, Diddy accumulated an estimated a nine-figure fortune, making him one of the richest figures in hip-hop. But the higher you climb, the harder the fall, and now, as more and more disturbing details emerge, his empire appears more fragile than ever.
Took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs.
The whispers and rumors started as just that, small voices here and there. But once the accusations began to pile up, it became impossible to ignore. Former friends, employees, and even close associates are coming forward, each one unveiling a darker side of Diddy's world, where fame and fortune collided with secrecy and power in ways that are both shocking and disturbing. For a man who once seemed untouchable, the reality now is that he's being painted as someone who used his status to manipulate and control, leaving a trail of damage behind him.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold, austere facility.
Now, let's bring Jay-Z into the picture. Just the mention of his name sparks endless discussions and comparisons. After all, he's arguably the only other person in hip-hop who stands on the same level as Diddy. Both men have built legacies that have stretched far beyond music. They've moved into business, entertainment, and philanthropy, each creating an empire. But here's where things get complicated. While Jay-Z has continued to rise, aligning himself with brands, companies, and ventures that elevate his influence, Diddy's legacy is now marred by controversy. And in a turn of events that no one could have predicted, Jay-Z has now agreed to testify against his former friend, an unprecedented move that's sparking rumors of betrayal, revenge, and power grab.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
Some insiders believe Jay-Z's decision to testify isn't just a moral choice. With a network and power base that rivals Diddy's, Jay-Z has his own agenda, and some suspect he's using this scandal to eliminate his biggest rival. Think about it. Two men who once collaborated on charity events, business deals, and even social causes now find themselves on opposite ends of one of the biggest controversies in recent history. When Jay-Z takes the stand, it's not just about justice. It's about the shifting balance of power in the industry. In an empire built on influence, anyone who gets in the way can find themselves pushed out of the picture. And for Jay-Z, this could be the ultimate opportunity to remove Diddy from his throne.
Controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
The animosity between these two giants might have seemed unimaginable just a few years ago, but recent events suggest that their past collaborations may have been less about camaraderie and more about strategy. These weren't just business deals. They were power moves orchestrated to cement influence and control over an entire industry. While the public watched them as partners, insiders claim that behind the scenes, there was always an underlying competition. Now, with Jay-Z's decision to testify, the question on everyone's mind is whether this is simply about speaking out or if there's a calculated plan at work.
I remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
But Diddy's fall from grace doesn't stop there. His so-called networking events have become infamous for reasons that have nothing to do with business. The allegations of wild gatherings, where fame and debauchery allegedly mingled freely, are a far cry from the pristine public image Diddy tried to project. According to some former attendees and employees, these events were anything but innocent. They describe a world where power games were the real entertainment and networking meant something altogether different. Picture elaborate, exclusive gatherings filled with celebrities, top executives, and household names, all participating in events that pushed boundaries in ways that only those with extreme influence can manage.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his home.
It was at these gatherings, insiders claim, that Diddy's behavior began to raise eyebrows. Former attendees have recounted stories of high-profile celebrities and famous guests who left feeling uneasy, realizing that what they thought would be a glamorous event was something else entirely. What goes on in these circles stays hidden, they say, protected by power and influence. But now, with testimonies coming out and past attendees speaking up, the public is beginning to see beyond the glittering facade. What once seemed like elite parties are now being exposed as something far darker.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
Diddy isn't alone in this circle of infamy. His connections to other controversial figures like Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly have come to light, stirring even more suspicion. While there's no concrete evidence linking him directly to their actions, his association with these infamous personalities has fueled speculation about what really goes on behind the scenes in the world of music moguls. Rumors suggest that Diddy's close ties with these figures weren't merely social. They were part of an unseen network where each member had a role to play. To some, Diddy's connections to these disgraced figures feel like pieces of a puzzle, hinting at a side of the industry that's as secretive as it is sinister.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
The Epstein and R. Kelly connections have only served to intensify public interest, creating a picture of an underground world ruled by unspoken rules and veiled threats. It's the kind of world where high-profile figures keep each other's secrets and protect each other's interests, and anyone who doesn't fall in line risks being cast out. The idea that Diddy might have been part of such a network is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. And now, as the scandal unfolds, people are left questioning just how deep his connections went and what these associations really meant.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
And then there's the theory that's taken the internet by storm. The idea that Diddy and Jay-Z were all along orchestrating events in the industry as secret puppet masters. According to this theory, these two didn't just create music empires. They controlled careers, decided who would rise and who would fall, and removed anyone who posed a threat to their dominance. Social media is full of posts dissecting everything from interviews to red carpet moments, each one speculating on whether there's truth behind the idea that Diddy and Jay-Z manipulated the industry like marionettes on a stage.
Do you believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes. I do.
For years, fans have dissected their every move, looking for signs of this hidden power play. Moments that once seemed harmless, a side glance, a handshake, a subtle nod, now take on new meaning as people dig into old footage, convinced they're uncovering clues to a conspiracy that's been hiding in plain sight. And as Diddy's world starts to crumble, these theories have only gained momentum, fueled by the fact that his biggest allies seem to be abandoning him at his lowest point.
So what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released.
This is the backdrop as Diddy sits behind bars, facing accusations that could destroy his legacy for good. And with each new development, it seems like more secrets are coming to the surface, secrets that reveal a side of hip-hop's elite that the public was never supposed to see. The once impenetrable walls of his empire are crumbling, exposing the dark corners that he spent years hiding from the world. And as the trial approaches, one thing is clear: the music industry may never look the same again.
Special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting them.
As we move forward, the focus shifts not only to Diddy's downfall, but also to the complex dynamics at play among his former allies. With Jay-Z stepping into the spotlight as a potential witness, the landscape of hip-hop's power structures is shifting in real time. People are watching to see whether Jay-Z's actions are a stand against injustice or simply a strategic maneuver to secure his own position. And as each new piece of evidence emerges, the world is left questioning who is truly in control and what secrets might still be lurking in the shadows. All right, so after peeling back the layers on Diddy's once untouchable empire, we've now got a chilling portrait of a mogul on the edge. And it's not just Diddy's world that's under the microscope. What's unfolding here is a total upheaval within the hip-hop industry's most elite circles. And who's now stepping front and center? None other than Jay-Z, a name so powerful it's practically its own brand. Jay-Z's move to testify isn't just a headline. It's a defining moment that could shift the entire landscape of hip-hop and expose secrets nobody ever imagined would come to light. This is the moment we dive deeper. We're not just talking about one man's downfall anymore. This is about the power structures that rule the industry, about long-kept secrets spilling out in the most public way possible. And while Diddy's facing the consequences of his past, everyone's watching Jay-Z to see if he's there as a voice of truth or if he's playing his own high-stakes game of survival. So let's explore what's really behind this testimony and what's emerging from the cracks in Diddy's once solid empire.
A lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these sexual performances that have been named freak-offs.
As we begin this deeper look, let's start with the revelations from inside Diddy's world that have started flooding out since his legal battles began. Picture this. Former Sprint employees, people who worked closely with Diddy for years, are now stepping forward with some shocking and intense claims. Some describe a work environment that wasn't just demanding, it was allegedly downright toxic. And they're not mincing words. Witnesses in lawsuits have recounted scenes of high-stakes manipulation, emotional control, and a workplace culture steeped in intimidation.
Clearly, there is a criminal investigation underway, and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
It's like these lawsuits opened a floodgate, and now all the stories that people were too scared to tell are finally coming to the surface. According to one former employee, Diddy was a master at controlling those around him, creating an environment where speaking up could cost you your livelihood or worse. He allegedly used his position to keep people in line, maintaining an iron grip on anyone who worked for him. The lawsuits describe Diddy as a man who knew exactly how to wield his power, from veiled threats to outright intimidation, to make sure everyone around him stayed silent.
To me that with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone.
And the timing of these testimonies isn't random. These aren't just old complaints suddenly resurfacing. They're part of a much larger, darker picture that's beginning to take shape. People who once felt trapped in silence are finally finding their voices, painting a picture of Diddy that the public never got to see. From alleged emotional manipulation to rumors of financial control, each story adds a new layer to the complex web of influence he's maintained over the years.
That's not the issue. The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
But as these testimonies pile up, there's another figure who's become central to this story, Jay-Z. Now, some people might think Jay-Z's involvement here is purely about righting wrongs, but others aren't so sure. Is Jay-Z speaking out now because he genuinely wants to distance himself from Diddy's behavior, or is there something else at play? For years, the two of them shared the stage as the ultimate duo of hip-hop powerhouses. They were friends, they were business partners, and they were allies, or at least that's how it looked on the surface.
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past, okay?
But now, the tables have turned, and it seems like Jay-Z is determined to keep his distance from Diddy's spiral. And that's where things get complicated. Because while Jay-Z might appear to be stepping forward in the name of justice, some insiders are saying his motives could be a bit more self-serving. There's speculation that Jay-Z's testimony isn't just a bid for justice. It's a calculated move to secure his own position and make sure none of Diddy's mess sticks to him. It's like he's navigating a minefield, doing everything he can to avoid getting caught up in the fallout of his former friend's actions.
Well, either way, if you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
In fact, It's no secret that Jay-Z's legal team has been working overtime to distance him from Diddy's scandal. This isn't just about preserving a friendship. It's about preserving a legacy. Jay-Z's attorneys have reportedly been putting up every possible barrier to separate their client from Diddy, and they're not holding back. If you ask some people, they'll tell you that Jay-Z's real aim here is to use Diddy's downfall to his advantage, making sure his own brand remains untarnished as his former ally's empire crumbles. And this isn't the first time that Diddy's managed to sidestep serious consequences. If you take a look at his past, there's a pattern of legal incidents that seem to follow him wherever he goes. From nightclub brawls to mysterious settlements, Diddy's career has been dotted with events that, for some reason, never seem to fully stick. It's almost like he's had a lifetime of get-out-of-jail-free cards, slipping out of tight spots and keeping his empire intact against all odds.
They're going to try everything. They're going to try to transfer him. They're going to try to get him out. You know, in a normal case where it's a high-profile person or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned about a wrongful prosecution because people that are mad that they're being arrested for a crime they didn't commit can turn around and file for malicious prosecution.
But now, with the stakes higher than ever, it seems like his luck might finally be running out. The legal cases piling up now don't just involve money or reputation. They're deeply personal, involving accusations of control, manipulation, and a level of influence that goes beyond anything the public ever imagined. And the kicker, this time, it's not just one isolated incident, it's an entire web of cases and stories, all pointing back to Diddy's alleged actions over the years.
Is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being. They have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
And then there's the culture of silence that Diddy allegedly created within his own organization. We're talking about an environment where people were reportedly afraid to speak up, afraid to challenge the status quo. Some former employees describe a workplace where loyalty wasn't just encouraged, it was demanded. People were allegedly pressured to keep quiet about what they saw, to look the other way to protect the man who held their careers in his hands.
There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
This wasn't just a regular office environment. It was a world where stepping out of line could cost you everything. According to those who've come forward, Diddy used every tool at his disposal to keep people silent, making sure his secrets stayed locked away. And in a setting like that, people learned pretty quickly that loyalty was the only way to survive. But now, as the walls come down, all those secrets are finally spilling out. So, what role does Jay-Z play in all of this? Was he complicit in Diddy's alleged behavior, or was he simply too close to see what was really going on? For years, Jay-Z stayed silent, never once speaking out against his former friend. But now, he's breaking that silence. And some people are wondering if it's a case of too little, too late. By finally speaking out, Jay-Z might be hoping to secure his own legacy, but there are plenty of people who question why he didn't act sooner.
There's no way. They can't move in the general population. And would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to. They want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did. I mean, there's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there. Plus,
in fact, some sources close to the situation are suggesting that Jay-Z's decision to testify might not be as noble as it seems. According to rumors, his own legal team has been pushing him to take a stand, to distance himself from Diddy before things get even worse. And there's even talk that Jay-Z's wife, Beyonce, has been putting pressure on him to cut ties with Diddy once and for all. With her influence and reputation at stake, it's no surprise that she'd want her husband to stay far away from the scandal.
He'll say allegedly has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
Beyonce, a figure who's carefully crafted her own image over the years, is no stranger to protecting her brand. And if rumors are to be believed, she's not thrilled about the idea of Jay-Z being associated with Diddy's alleged behavior. Some insiders are saying that her influence may have been the final push Jay-Z needed to make the decision to testify. After all, when it comes to power couples, image is everything, and Beyonce knows that better than anyone.
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes. And sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
Adding to the intrigue, Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, is reportedly playing a major role in shaping his client's strategy. Known for his aggressive approach, Spiro has been working tirelessly to create a clean break between Jay-Z and Diddy, putting up every possible defense to protect his client's reputation. With Spiro in his corner and Beyonce supporting from behind the scenes, it seems like Jay-Z is doing everything he can to navigate this scandal without letting it taint his legacy.
that this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
And then we get to the evidence that's starting to surface. The so-called vault of material that was seized from Diddy's properties. Imagine the kind of secrets that could be hiding on those devices. Emails, messages, documents, recordings. We're talking about a treasure trove of information that could hold the key to understanding the full scope of what's gone on behind the scenes. According to some sources, what's been found is staggering, with evidence that could provide a whole new perspective on Diddy's alleged activities. People are waiting with bated breath to see what will emerge from this vault. And the anticipation is only fueling the speculation. Every new piece of information adds to the tension, making it feel like we're on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. It's like a ticking time bomb, ready to explode at any moment, and nobody knows exactly what's inside or how damaging it could be for everyone involved. So, what does this all mean for the world of hip-hop and the power structures within it? The simple answer: everything is changing. This scandal isn't just about Diddy. It's about a much larger shift within the industry. For years, figures like Diddy and Jay-Z have been seen as untouchable, ruling over their empires with an iron fist. But now, as the scandal unfolds, it's clear that even the biggest names aren't immune to consequences.
I've had clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
This is a reckoning, a moment where the industry is being forced to confront its own dark side. As younger artists and fans demand more transparency and accountability, the old guard is finding it harder to keep their secrets hidden. The days of the untouchable elite are coming to an end, and it's changing the entire landscape of hip-hop in real time. This isn't just a scandal, it's a cultural shift, a sign that the power structures within the industry are evolving. And as Diddy's trial approaches, the world is watching, waiting to see how it all unfolds. Will this be the moment that finally brings down a hip-hop titan, or will Diddy's influence be enough to save him from the consequences of his own actions? And what does it mean for Jay-Z and the future of hip-hop's power dynamics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned as we uncover even more shocking details